Welcome to The Artist Matters. I'm Alex Rudy, and each week you will meet incredible artists from all walks of life. Filmmakers, writers, actors, painters, musicians, and so many more, sharing their stories to motivate and inspire the creative in you. Whether you're doing it for fun or looking to make a living, this show will help you on your journey to bring out the artist within and letting the world know that your art matters. Hello, one and all. It's Alex Rudy back with you on The Artist Matters. Hope everyone's doing great. It has been a very unique week. Of course, Mother's Day is a little challenging now that Mom is no longer with us, but on the upside, I did release my short film, The Park, on YouTube, so now everyone can see it. And the concept is Sophie is meeting the father she never knew, his name is Dan, in a park. And their little meeting goes awry, and Sophie tries to leave the park, but she can't get out. What happens? You got to check it out. It's a cute little twist. I don't know if I'd call it cute, but I'm saying it. And thanks one and all for listening to The Artist Matters. It's great to see people are checking us out, spreading the word, and getting to meet some new people and have some new artists waiting in the wings to get on the show and share their stories. And today we've got a young woman that I have known since 2003. And she is friends with my stepdaughter, Nicole. They've known each other since grade school and have been friends since, sharing a little artistic connection. Her name is Victoria Ohman, or as I know her, Tori. And Tori's special creative niche is tattoo art. But her story goes back to 1984, where she was born on Long Island and has always been a creative person. As far back as remember holding a crayon. Her family was always encouraging. And of course, when she decided to major in art and specifically painting and drawing, family was okay with it. She did get her BFA from New Paltz, SUNY, in 2006. And of course, it can be a little challenging to find work as an artist afterwards, but she eventually found herself immersed in the world of tattoo art, eventually getting an apprenticeship, something I didn't know existed, but you can apprentice with a tattoo artist, and she made her first tattoo in October of 2007. You'll hear from Tori telling us how the process goes, what's it like to meet with a client, get a feel, and encouraging them if they feel like they can't take the pain of getting a needle to skin. You'll also hear some of Tori's interesting tales of her most challenging tattoo and the most unusual tattoo, among other great little tidbits of information. You can find her if you're in Bohemia, New York. She is at Artful Ink. That's her tattoo shop she works at. And just another funny tidbit, today happens to be Victoria Day in Canada. Yes, it is in honor of Queen Victoria's birthday, and it always falls on the penultimate Monday of May. And I saw that and I said, this is just perfect. When am I ever going to have a guest whose name is the name of the day that it airs on? Victoria Day with the guest named Victoria. It was meant to be. Totally. Okay, so here we go. Let's get into it and enjoy my chat on Victoria Day with my guest, Victoria Ohman. We got Victoria, or as I know her, Tori. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for asking me to participate.
Oh, my first ever tattoo
Nice.
artist.
Oh,
and I get this young lady.
exciting.
Yes, I've known her since 2004, maybe 2003.
Yeah, about that.
I started dating Anna in 2002. Ooh. Seems like a lifetime ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been. But let's get into it and learn about your journey. Did you always have this creative side to you?
I think so. I can't really remember much of a childhood without some sort of art going on, whether it was plastering things with stickers or covering notebook pages with, marker and crayon and oil pastels. And I remember my favorite Girl Scout nights would be the nights that we would make things from pasta noodles and magazine clippings and things like that. So I think I've always been a creative type.
Was anybody else in the family artistic?
My uncle is a little bit of an illustrator. He doesn't really talk about it much or make much art nowadays, but I remember seeing some airbrushed denim jackets hanging on his wall when I was a kid, and he would do Metallica logos and Iron Maiden, the Eddie from Iron Maiden stuff all over his he'd make bath towels and denim jackets and paint on his leathers and things like that. So my dad is creative but not really artistic. So I think I might have just gotten lucky. I don't really remember much in terms of family members teaching me to paint or doing anything specifically fine art related necessarily.
Were they encouraging?
Oh, yeah, totally. Everybody's been very supportive and always very, is supportive and kind with their feedback, even when things were, kids' art is kids' art, but most people are going to receive that with a warm and kind heart. But I've always been encouraged by my family to pursue the arts, even into college when, what are you going to do at college? Oh, I'm going to major in fine arts. And I didn't get the eye rolls, and I didn't get the, well, you should have a plan B, and I didn't get the resistance. So I'm very thankful for that it was encouraged and embraced and fostered pretty much for my whole life.
So what was your art sequence like in high school?
Oh, the art sequence in high school, from what I can remember, you had to either do 2 years back-to-back sequential for a foreign language, or you had to do a fine art sort of sequence where that would replace one of the foreign languages. So I think I did 1 year of French and decided that I would have a much better time doing a second year of another art class instead of following up with the sequential 2 for the French.
She said, au revoir.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to learn it so badly, but I think it's a right brain, left brain thing, and language is hard for me to grasp. I can read it and comprehend, but yeah, putting it into use was not as free-flowing as things like my art mediums. So I opted for the sequence, and I think you had to maintain a certain grade point average to be allowed to switch your classes out that way. But from what I remember, it was really just you do your basic art class, and then there was a second one that you could choose to do to kind of supplement and add on to a fine art sequence, which would also help if you were applying to an art program at college. So I think that was part of my deal too, was that I knew I wanted to go to college for fine art. So getting as much of that into my daily routine as possible was something that I made a priority.
Getting ready to graduate, you got to go to college somewhere. So where do you land up?
I had looked at a couple. I knew I needed to stay local, both for my comfort and for budget. So I looked at SUNY Purchase. I looked at Manhattanville, which was not a SUNY, and that quickly became a non-option just because it wasn't really a good fit, and the tuition was a bit up there. So Purchase, Manhattanville, and then New Paltz, which I fell in love with right away. The The campus was gorgeous. I liked that it was kind of an interdisciplinary liberal arts college as opposed to a conservatory, which Purchase was a conservatory. I'm not sure if it still is. But conservatories keep artists that are in a specific medium kind of with other artists in that medium only. So the dancers will be with dancers, the ceramicists will be with the ceramicists, the painters will be with painters, and you don't really get to commingle or pick the brain of other disciplines. And New Paltz, being a liberal arts college, they didn't throw you straight into such a specific and defined concentration. And I think at 18, as a freshman in college, I wasn't positive if I wanted to only paint, and I wasn't positive that I was, not going to incorporate other mediums into the work that I would be making. I didn't even really know what to expect from college, let alone pursuing professional training in fine art. So I wanted to be able to bounce off of education students and science students and printmakers and ceramicists and metalsmiths. And at New Paltz, I was able to do that. So that was really great. There was really kind of a cooperative, interdisciplinary environment there. And I had a really fulfilling time at New Paltz, both creatively and educationally and personally. It was the best time ever.
And the art program itself?
Our program was awesome. Our professors, some of them were historians that had taught in the city and other places in the Hudson Valley. I had 2 professors that I can recall offhand that had shown in Manhattan several times that were currently still, working and maintaining their own studios. So it's not like they were painters when they were 20, 30 and then stopped painting and now they teach, that old adage. But they, were actively making work in their studios and would take us to Chelsea and have us look at current things going on and have really thoughtful discussions about theory and crit and history and all of the big chunks of what makes the art relevant and what makes what was done so important, and kind of kept it contemporary in terms of they're not just talking about the work that was done in the 60s, 70s, 80s, or even the prehistoric stuff that's the super old-timey backbone to what, mark making as human beings kind of signifies or represents or holds importance in time, but they're able to kind of close the gap between history and the present and techniques and principles, I guess. So when they're teaching and they're making simultaneously, I think that's a really important quality for people that are learning the arts.
Damn, I want to go there. Sounds fun. So what was your actual major?
My major was painting and drawing. So I got a bachelor's of fine arts with the concentration in painting and drawing. So we had a thesis at the end of our tenure there where you need to create a body of work that's connected in some thematic way. And you need to make a press release for yourself and explain yourself in an artist statement, things like that. So all of the painters, or if you're in painting and drawing, you could pursue something more like illustration if you're into pen and ink sort of things, or you could get multimedia with found objects and paint on different surfaces, things like that.
What did you do?
I did abstract oil painting was my jam. Some large scale, ranging all the way down to small scale. I would say my biggest piece in that show was about 4 feet by 8 feet roughly, and then I had a couple that were 36 by 42s, and then I had a gallery set up on one of the walls that had about 12 pieces that were ranging from 2 inches by 3 inches to